want to be for Halloween? Do you want to be a lion again? Do you want to be a lion? Look at you. Roar. Roar. You could be a moose. You could be a moose. A moose. A moose. Oh, well, hello there, my little friends. Helen and I were just trying to decide what our costumes will be for Halloween this year. Helen thinks she might like to be a lion. And one of my granddaughters is going to be an owl. Maybe I'll be a zookeeper or a lion tamer. Halloween is so much fun. And speaking of fun, I have a really fun story for you today, all about Halloween and kindness. Let me put these costumes away and let Helen outside to play, and we can read it together. Are you ready, Lion? Let's go. Come on. Let's go outside. Come on, little good girl. Yes, come on. Here we are. I'm back, little ones, with today's story, The Hallo-Wiener. And it's written by an author that we're kind of familiar with. Remember the book Dog Breath, A Story of Halitosis? Well, it's the same author, Mr. Dav Pilkey. Let's learn just a little bit more about him. As a child, Dav Pilkey was diagnosed with dyslexia and ADHD. Dave was so disruptive in class that his teachers made him sit out in the hall every day. Luckily, Dave loved to draw and make up stories, so he spent his time in the hallway creating his own original comic books. In the second grade, Dav Pilkey created a comic book about a superhero named Captain Underpants. That's one of my favorites. His teacher ripped it up and told him he couldn't spend the rest of his life making silly books. Fortunately, Dave was not always a very good listener. Dave has gone on to create award-winning and best-selling books for children. His Captain Underpants series has more than 80 million copies in print worldwide and has been translated into more than 28 languages. Wow! Dave's latest creation, Dogman, continues to be #1 New York Times bestselling series with more than 13 million copies in print worldwide and translations available in more than 21 languages. Dave lives in the Pacific Northwest with his wife. And now let's listen to this wonderful story written and illustrated by Mr. Dav Pilkey. The Hallo-Wiener. There once was a dog named Oscar, who was half a dog tall and 1.5 dogs long. Because of his unusual shape and size, all the other dogs made fun of him. Wiener dog, they called him. And Oscar did not like it one bit. Poor Oscar. Oscar's mother was no help either. Every morning when the dogs walked off to obedience school, Oscar's mother stood in the front yard waving and calling out, "Farewell, my little Vienna sausage." Oh, and the other dogs, they laughed and laughed. Most of the time, Oscar was upset by all this, but not today. Today was Halloween and Oscar was thinking about other things. All day long at obedience school, Oscar daydreamed about Halloween night, trick-or-treats, and scary costumes. Looks like he might want to be a ghost. When Oscar got home, he dashed upstairs to start working on his scary Halloween costume. But when he got to his room, a surprise was waiting for him. "Happy Halloween, my little sausage link," said Oscar's mother. "I've made you a costume to wear for trick-or-treats." Oh, when Oscar saw the costume, he nearly fainted. It was a giant hot dog bun, complete with mustard. And guess who was supposed to fit in the middle? Oh no. Oscar did not want to hurt his mother's feelings, So he decided to wear the silly costume. What a nice son. That night, all the dogs on the block gathered to show off their costumes. Everyone was looking quite scary. Then Oscar showed up, looking quite frank. When the dogs saw Oscar in his silly costume, they howled with laughter. "Look at Oscar," they cried. "He really is a wiener dog." Poor Oscar was so embarrassed. "Wiener dog, laughed the other dogs as they ran off to go trick-or-treating. Oscar tried to keep up with the dogs, but his silly costume kept slowing him down. All night long, the other dogs hounded every treat they could get their paws on. So by the time Oscar got to each house, there were no treats left. He's not having a good night. Soon, trick-or-treating was over, and the dogs walked home past a spooky graveyard. Suddenly, a horrible hissing sound filled the air. The dogs stopped dead in their tracks. Then, out of the graveyard rose a ghastly monster. The dogs screamed for their lives. They dropped their treats and jumped into a nearby pond. Splash! The monster moved closer. "Please don't eat us!" cried the dogs. The monster yowled in his "Moo!" sobbed the dogs. The monster jumped up and down. "Somebody save us!" shrieked the dogs. Just then, somebody showed up. It was Oscar. Because Oscar was so short, he saw something the other dogs had not seen. "That's no monster," cried Oscar, and with a loud bark, Oscar waddled up to the rescue. Oscar chomped and tugged with all his might. Rip! And there, standing in the moonlight, were a couple of ornery cats. "Help!" cried the cats. "We're being attacked by a giant frankfurter!" And they ran off, screaming through the graveyard. Meow, meow, meow. The dogs in the pond had seen the whole thing, and now it was their turn to be embarrassed. "We've been chased into a pond by a couple of cats," they moaned. But Oscar was a true friend. He leaped into the water and he swam out to the dogs. Oscar's silly costume made a wonderful life raft, and the dogs climbed up. "All aboard!" Oscar called, and he dog paddled back to the shore. When they got back to dry land, all the dogs shared their Halloween treats with Oscar. Because Oscar had been so brave, the dogs changed his nickname from Wiener Dog to Hero Sandwich. And from that night on, nobody ever made fun of Oscar again. Happy Halloween! Hooray! Oscar sure did save the day and the night, which proves that while he may have been short on height, he's awfully long on heart. How we choose to treat one another is so very important, and Oscar certainly did a wonderful job showing us that kindness toward others goes a very long way. Keep being kind to one another, little ones, and be sure to have a fun, happy Halloween. Remember, Oma is sending you her hugs and her blessings. I hope you'll catch them and hold them real tight. Trick or treat! Bye-bye.
get broken, I will shelter you. Little ears, if you will listen, you will hear the truth. You will hear the truth. It's a big world, baby, big enough to dream. You're not too small to do great things. Ooh. I'll be with you, right beside you, hold you when you cry. When the rain is falling on you, I will keep you dry. When you sail on stormy seas, I will be your guide. I will be your guide. It's a big world, baby, big enough to dream. You're not too small to do great things. Hear the music play, dancing in your soul. Listen to